It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag Utah Jazz.
Marketing comes up to set the pick. Clayton goes behind his back, now through his legs, drives with the right hand, into the paint, jump stops, short. Lowry soars in, catches, and puts a reverse layup off the glass and in. 3.2 seconds left. The entire arena on their feet. Mitchell, the second-year player out of Santa Barbara, will inbound on the far side. Shea is closest to Mitchell. Williams at the top, Holmgren on the near side. Mitchell has the basketball. Inbound to Shea. 3 seconds left. Drives with the left hand. Pulls from the mid-range. Hits it. We're going to overtime. 129-125. Deontay three-quarter court shot. And the Jazz put out a fabulous effort. Really felt like a great effort from the very beginning. And fall short.
Jazz lose 129-125 in overtime. Were you worried Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was going to miss there in the final seconds, PK? The Jazz are going to get out of there with a win?
Oh, I don't know that I was worried. I don't know that I was thinking, oh my gosh, he's going to make it for sure. But he's really good at that. He's a slithery dude. Manages to get to the line. What did he get? How many free throws did he shoot? 80 against the Jazz. What do you have? Man, he was at the line a lot. I mean, he's a good player, and he's hard to defend. You know, he's tall, he's lanky, he can move his body. So I felt confident for their sakes that he would probably get a good shot, unless the Jazz just decided that they were going to send 2 or 3 guys after him. But at that point, you know, to me, I was comfortable if they won, because that would have been a good sign. But the fact that they lost is even a better sign. And they had to go to overtime, which should gas them for tonight. And so get a home loss and continue on that road to AJ. That's my whole, forget the road to the Final Four. That's for the Cougars. The road for the Jazz is the road to AJ, or at least somebody else. Carlos Boozer's son had a big game. So continues my hope that they get a top 2 or 3 pick, maybe top 1, maybe the first pick, maybe to finally Lady Luck will shine upon them. It'll be really cool.
Markkanen leading them with 29 points. They had 5 guys in double figures, including Walter Clayton Jr. off the bench. You like him playing some big minutes late in the game, hitting some really tough shots. 15 points in 27 minutes. He's getting some minutes here, closing games.
Well, he did against the Thunder, yeah. And, you know, he's an older kid because he played the whole time in college.
4 years,
so he's older than most of these younger guys, and has been there at least at collegiate level. And so far, you know, where did they pick him? I don't even remember now, but it was later, right? And at this point, it looks like he might have something that could be a valuable asset to somebody. Like Nick Saban talks about creating value for your employer. Obviously, for them, it would be when he was coaching at Alabama. Most of them would want to be the NFL, but not all are going to make it. Very few, actually. So still create value. So what Walt is doing right now is creating value for himself for the Jazz, and that's a good sign.
Yeah, he was the 18th pick in the draft. As you mentioned, it is back-to-back. Cooper Flagg and the Mavericks here tonight. Tip-off at 7 o'clock, pregame at 6. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
Good news for the Jazz draft prospects. The Atlanta Hawks trade Trae Young to the Wizards in exchange for C.J. McCollum and Corey Kispert. Young had wanted to land in Washington. According to reports, he'd been in Atlanta 7 years. He's got $95 million remaining on the deal with a player option for next season. And he's not going to make him great, but he ought to make him less bad, right?
Oh, I don't know about that, man.
Really?
I mean,
you sense a lot of losses coming?
Atlanta was way better without him. That's why they wanted to get rid of him.
Yes.
And that's why he wanted out.
But doesn't Atlanta have more players than Washington? And I totally get that side of the argument. But for the Wizards, it seemed like the cupboard was a little more bare.
And so taking Trae Young in there for him to score a bunch of points and you lose, I don't see how he affects winning. He may be a nice individual player who puts up nice stats, but how does he? You're acting like all of a sudden the Wizards are going to win more games with Trae Young. I don't know that I see it.
10-26, they lost to the Sixers yesterday. 10-26 as he moves to the club.
I hope so. I hope you're right. I hope he flourishes and the team goes on a second half of a run.
Well,
he seemed to me.
He could also get hurt and miss a bunch of games. And if that happens, and now they don't have McCollum, then the losses will pile up. The cupboard is even more bare if he's not out there, right?
Yeah.
The Nets looked like they might get a win. Magic and Nets trading big shots right there at the end. And the former BYU Cougar, Egor Demon, with a big shot there at the end, but trumped at the buzzer, and the Magic win 104-103 in overtime.
Yegor, man, I thought he couldn't shoot. He's shooting just fine, and his name isn't Demon. That was in Provo. It's like now.
Say it, Yak.
He plays for
Yegor
Brooklyn.
Dielman.
Say it again.
Yegor Dielman.
Dielman. I don't see the L, but okay, I'm rolling with it.
Well, for the
I'm
Nets,
saying
I
you're
see a
wrong,
lot of
Yak.
Ls.
It's I know. So the Jazz almost got a little help there with the Nets winning, but the Nets are still stuck on 10 wins. Too bad. So sad didn't catch the break. Hornets also nearly won, but they're sitting on 13 wins right now. Raptors got them 97-96 with a shot at the buzzer. So a couple buzzer beaters. LeBron set out the Lakers' loss to the Spurs. If he misses one more game, he's going to be falling below the 65-game threshold, eligible to make him eligible for NBA awards. That would end his record streak, 21 seasons in a row as a member of the All-NBA teams. And it does seem like he's certain to miss one more game at this point. It would be surprising if he didn't, but there you go.
I don't know that he would make the All-NBA team either way.
Yeah. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college basketball.
A laugher. BYU rolls 2-0 now in conference. 13-1. They blow out Arizona State 104-76. Richie Saunders, a career high 31 points. Plenty of guys with stats because they scored 104 points in 40 minutes. They were flying.
I got to see Saunders get some consistency with his scoring, with his jump shot. You know, it's fine when you're up 20 to be able to hit shots. He's got a different role on this team this year. And I want to see him, if he can get a little more consistency in the tougher games, and obviously the last night one was
not
one of them.
Those, yeah.
That would be a huge boost because they really do need the core guys to play well virtually every game. If like Bosovic gives you 8 points off the bench, we want to celebrate that because they don't get much production. So it's going to need to come from the three. And Kate obviously isn't a scorer, and Davis is a junkyard dog kind of guy who does a lot of different things for you. And so right now, I pretty much every game, I can count on DeBonsa and Wright doing their thing. And I gotta get some more consistency out of Saunders, which he's very capable of doing for sure. I don't think he's a big sky player. I'm not saying like that where I used to say some of those guys would have big games against the lower level competition. He's very capable of having big games against big competition. And if he can do that, you know, this team, and we're still 2 months away, obviously, but still has a chance to do something that they haven't done, and that would be the Final Four.
But to your point, against some of the bigger name opponents, he's been pretty quiet. And he had 17 points against UConn, but he was 0 for 7 from the three-point line. He had 0 for 7 from the three-point line against Clemson and only 5 points. His only other game that wasn't in double figures was Miami. So those are some of the better opponents they faced. He led at Wisconsin. That was a blowout, but still supposed to be one of the better opponents they faced. We'll see how Wisconsin does. While BYU was rolling, Utah loses in Boulder, Colorado, 85-73. And tonight, Big Sky action, Weber State at the Sky Dome, PK. Your old stomping grounds are playing NAU tonight.
I lit it up there in intramurals many times.
That a kid.
They
SUU's
put several courts on the football field there.
SUU is at UVU at 6 o'clock, and Utah Tech is at Cal Baptist. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NFL.
Dallas Cowboy owner and general manager Jerry Jones said he still has aspirations and dreams at the age of 83, saying, "My goal in life is to retire as the owner that won the most Super Bowls. That's my goal, to be retired in the NFL as the owner that won the most Super Bowls. We've got 3. How many more do I have to go as a single owner? Robert Kraft's got how many? 6? So I got work to do. Got work to do, but at least I'm up on the second rung in the ladder.
Yeah, I don't see how an owner actually retires unless he sells.
Yeah, nobody
so,
thinks Jerry Jones is going to sell.
And as Ford Scally said the other day, that he was his dream to play running back for the Utes when they moved him to safety. And he said Kyle Whittingham's dream was to play center field for the Angels. And that wasn't going to happen.
It's not happening.
We all have dreams. I wanted to play third base for the Dodgers. And at about 14, I realized to myself, I said, PK, you got no chance.
It's good you figured it out that early. Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh hailing his brother John after John was fired by the Baltimore Ravens, saying John will be out of a job very long and should be a head coach again ASAP. John Harbaugh's the best coach I know, the best coach I've ever seen. I'm his brother, so I might be biased. Well, I do think he's right about getting another job real quick if he wants one. Sometimes
the
these
best
guys...
coach he's ever seen. I'm his brother. Brady Poppinga said that same thing yesterday about his brother Kelly.
Yeah.
So I love loyalty in the family. It's always sad when there is disloyalty in the family. Like you and your brothers, oh my gosh, the stuff I've heard from them that I can't repeat about you, it's sad.
Yeah, it's all true. Every last bit, and they're probably still holding some stuff back. There's probably even more.
Well, no, they were just praising your charity work.
Russell Wilson, switching agents, says he intends to play next season. Yeah, I'm not blinking. I know what I'm capable of. I think I showed that in Dallas. I want to do that again. Just be ready to rock and roll and be as healthy as possible and be able to play ball.
Okay, what league, what sport? Because didn't he get drafted? Was he one of those guys that, like Kyler Murray,
drafted as a
didn't get
baseball
drafted
player?
in the MLB?
I vaguely have a memory of that, yes.
He was a baseball draft pick, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe he's talking about MLB, man. Michael Jordan, here we go.
Saints are committing to Tyler Shuck being their starting quarterback next season. He was 5-4 as the team's starter as a rookie. Kellen Moore, the head coach, telling reporters Tyler's done an awesome job through the entire process. He's gotten a ton better. He's taken advantage of a bunch of opportunities. So,
A Phoenix kid.
another one.
Yeah. Well, he went to several different places.
Yep.
Texas Tech was along the way. Oregon, I think Louisville also. And the great comment that we saw last year on, and I've repeated this, draft night, is when they had the cameras there and they showed his family. The Dateline said Scottsdale when he grew up in Chandler, and then folks in Arizona and the Valley were on social media say, "Yep, that's that NIL working for you," because instead of Chandler as his home, it said Scottsdale, which is a ritzier area. I'm more of a Chandler guy. DJ, you're more of a Scottsdale guy.
Oh, well, now I understand it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Put it in your terms.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football. Hashtag BYU.
BYU announcing the promotion of Kelly Poppinga to defensive coordinator. Sione Bua will be associate head coach to Kalani Sitake in addition to coaching defensive tackles. And former SUU coach Demario Warren is the new defensive passing game coordinator and cornerbacks coach. He's coming to Provo from Boise State. So everything getting aligned in Provo. K-pop.
Yeah, and we were waiting for 2 weeks on the announcement for Poppinga. And away you go. I mean, I love the guy, too. He's not my brother, but it's so many of these guys, it's the sign of me becoming prehistoric in that these guys that are getting these ascensions up the coaching ranks are guys I literally covered as players when I was a beat writer a good while ago. So, I've known the Poppinga family, obviously, for over 20 years. I've known Kelly for many years. I think the world of him. He gets it. He gets the notion of selling BYU at all costs. Put me on the radio. Why? Well, because if I'm talking BYU football, I know the other guy isn't. You guys aren't talking Utah football. So the aspect, and then Kyle Whittingham, cut from the BYU tree, would always talk about recruiting. Praise me all you want, but it's about the players. And that is so true. And Kelly gets that as far as what you need to be successful. He can sell it. Now, his defensive acumen, we'll see how that plays out. He's got big shoes to fill. He's a guy who's been in coaching for a good while, been around the country now, various places, has made contacts. So I'm excited for him to get this opportunity. Guys who work hard, we want to see them rewarded. I think it was last winter, maybe the winter before, I sat next to him at a high school basketball game. He's watching some sophomore. I know the kid was a sophomore, and he's just sitting there by himself under the basket. And on a Friday night, I'm thinking there's probably a million other things he'd rather do.
Go to a high school basketball game.
But there was two kids one on each team, that he was just showing his face, and they were sophomores, and that, hey, we're interested in you. They're linemen. We'll see what happens, because I believe they're only juniors this year, and so they still got another year of high school basketball, as we're in region play now, and then obviously football next year. So the point I'm making is he will work. He will pay the price to get the job done.
Got to see those players playing other sports. We've heard all kinds of coaches talk about that. Show their athletic ability, their competitiveness, what kind of teammate they are. Coaches love to look at him and say, okay, you're not a star in this sport, so how's you as a teammate? Because you get to the college level, you might not be the star there anymore in football. So,
yeah, I had a number of scouts. I think that's where I learned the Dodgers weren't interested in me. They came out to me. I came out to watch me play badminton, and I kept just slamming that shuttlecock into the net, and I think they left early.
Nice. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
Ty Simpson entering the NFL draft. He will pass on his senior season at Alabama. Started just 1 year for the Crimson Tide. His father, UT Martin coach Jason Simpson, said Ty received a first-round grade from each NFL general manager they contacted in the decision process. So, expecting to go round one, he is on his way.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was surprised.
That he'd be graded round one?
Yeah. Now, I'm not watching him every game the way we are our guys, but it is Alabama, and you do get to see him play a lot. I'm surprised that his dad, who's in the business and should have an idea of what he's talking about and have connections, that they said that it was pretty much a lock that he would go first round. But I haven't watched him enough, and not that I'm a big quarterback analyzer anyway, but just didn't, especially at that position where we've seen so many guys go high and don't work, and we've seen so many guys go low that do work, that the dad was assured that the kid would be a first-round pick, and maybe he will be. Maybe it's just a situation of quarterbacks, and my gosh, if you show any kind of ability, we're going to take you.
Well, 64% of his passes complete, over 3,500 yards, and he had 28 touchdowns and 5 picks. And the thing I did hear, the 2 playoff games they played in the SEC title game, you see a lot of the pregame stuff and all that, and they were always questioning Alabama's ability to run the ball. They didn't have anybody run for 600 yards this year. And so not just the fact, 28 touchdowns, 5 interceptions to turn your head, but the fact that they just never consistently ran the ball, and he was still able to be productive probably earned him some points in the eyes of NFL guys.
All right, so there, he's got your endorsement.
He's going to throw it, and they know he's going to throw it. Yeah, but I'm with you. I haven't watched a bunch of it. I have no idea how it's going to translate. Maybe there's a little bit of, hey, it's a weak quarterback class also, so get into this.
Well, we have to see what happens with the Oregon kid more.
We do, yeah. Former Oklahoma and Auburn quarterback Jackson Arnold on to another school, UNLV. He'll replace Anthony Contrea, who signed with Nebraska. You keeping the domino straight here as one tips over and another tips into another and another. You got this carousel all figured out?
Yeah, college quarterbacks are just like swingers. They keep going from partner to partner. I mean, it's crazy. At least with quarterbacks, well, only one can play, blah, blah, blah. I can understand it a little bit better. But some of these guys, they're established, and yet they still move. Away we go. And then some of them, it's kind of sad in that they're chasing a dream that they thought was on the radar, because most of these kids who are starting in college obviously were really good high school players, and then they get sold a bill of goods and start thinking, yeah, I'm all that. Their parents, I've seen it with the parents many times over, they get all high and mighty about it, and then there's a crash, and more often than not there's a crash than succeed, and they start chasing things that they're never going to get. And now, especially with the no penalty for the transfer, it's even more pronounced. It was back when you had to sit out. It still was pronounced. As far as the Elite 11, I saw a thing from last year or 2 years ago, 22 kids or 30 kids or whatever it was were there, and 60% have transferred, and of that, 80% have transferred twice. And they're trying to chase something that they thought was a strong possibility as a 16-year-old, and then when you get to be a 20-year-old, you find out it's not going to happen.
Ole Miss in Miami tonight, semifinal game. Ole Miss has scored a bunch of points now. The defense has seemed a little vulnerable at times, and not just in the 2 Georgia games. They gave up 35 to Arkansas. So you like Ole Miss to keep advancing without Lane Kiffin? Because we got this storyline, the coach who wanted to win the national championship may have left a team that could win the national championship.
Yeah, but it's not just Lane Kiffin. It's several coaches going back and forth. And it seemed like each advancement, fewer coaches are on the staff. I would have to think that would
catch up,
cause an issue at some point. I mean, I would love to see it. It's a Cinderella story. I think it's the biggest Cinderella story that we have. Indiana as a historic Cinderella, I get that. But if you look at what they're doing the last couple years, this isn't a Cinderella anymore. They are a beauty queen all the way in that analogy. And still, Ole Miss isn't supposed to be there. And combined with what has been happening the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, really isn't supposed to be there. So it would be a cool story. So from that perspective of the underdog, to me, they're the biggest underdog. And that game is over there in Glendale down in the Phoenix area. So, yeah, I would like to see that just for a story's sake. It would be fun. And then you said about Lane Kiffin, and Lane Kiffin has been a coaching lightning rod for many, many years, and he's still not that old.
Yeah. Miami, most points they've given up. That defense is really good. The most points they've given up this year is in regulation is 24, and they did that in the loss to Louisville and when they beat Notre Dame. So that's a really good Ole Miss defense. That's a really good Ole Miss offense and a really good Miami defense. So Miami actually.
And I like the Ole Miss kid Trinidad. That's a cool first name,
it is.
Trinidad.
And he's a great story. D2 transfer. That's
absolutely
awesome.
He's a great story. Yeah.
Miami favored by 3.5. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NHL.
I am thrilled to announce that right here in Rice-Eccles Stadium, the Utah Mammoth will host the Discover 2027 NHL Winter Classic.
Backdoor pass, and they score! Lawson Krause lasers one in, and the Mammoths are off and running. Brandon Tanev around behind the Ottawa net, wraparound, shut down, rebound loose, it's still loose, they're trying to jam it in, Miralainen got back, Utah saying it's in, and it is! The Mammoth kick down the door and make it 3-1!
And the Mammoth beat Ottawa 3-1. Nice win at home to kick off the 7-game homestand. With one of the stars out, with Cooley out, other guys have to step up. And it has been Dylan Guenther night after night after night. But last night, Lawson Krause gets his 10th goal. John Marino is third, and then Daniil Boot there with the second goal of the year. A lot of different guys contributing, PK. They get the win. And that puck was lying in the crease for it seemed like about half an hour. I mean, it wasn't. I think it was like 5 or 6 seconds, but I think it was
that
loose
puck
forever.
lying in the crease.
Yep.
I thought you were a soccer guy.
Yeah,
now you're a hockey guy, too?
Maybe it was bouncing around in the crease a little bit. I just think of the Mike Folta coming on and saying, I want to see some greasy goals. That was the greasiest goal of the year, probably.
I never thought I'd hear when we started this 29, 30, 50 years ago, whenever it was, you'd be using the word crease. The puck in the crease.
Yeah. That's what
Did
it
you make
is.
a conscious decision?
Yes, immediately. Didn't even have to go to a game. It's clear cut to me. And the NHL, the Winter Classic, Rice-Eccles Stadium. They're going to face the Colorado Avalanche outdoors. Will they pick the, probably not, it'll probably be earlier, but could they do it like the Rose Bowl, so you time it so, the sun sets right, early third period or something, get a sunset over the mountains, really sell it, PK.
Yeah, do they play it? I guess it is, most of them are in the day, I'm trying to recall, right? Don't they play it in the day?
Yeah, I think they've all been in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be fun. Something different, sure. I mean, it's a game, it's a hockey game.
Right. But it makes it an event.
About.
Yeah, makes it an event. Something different.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Coming up, Dustin Smith, founder QB Elite, Spanish Fork high school football coach, is going to join us. And at 8:30, Don Moore, Utah Mammoth analyst for SEG Media. We'll talk outdoor hockey with him, Rice-Eccles Stadium and the Winter Classic coming in 2027. DJ and PK, the question of the day is next.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
It's funny about Kyle Whittingham, he does not care about his legacy at all, which is weird. I would have thought that would be more of a priority, but obviously it's not. I mean, the bitterness of sticking it to Utah outweighs his desire to have any sort of legacy, which is, I guess, kind of crazy. I mean...
You think he's trying to stick it to Utah?
Absolutely. Gary Anderson said as much. They shouldn't have pissed Kyle off. Use that word.
Yeah.
I don't know why anybody would think any differently.
I certainly don't think Whit was trying to do Utah favors on the way out the door. But again, to your point, like, what was he supposed to do? This is how he's become Kyle Whittingham, is these people around him. So he's going to go back to the well of the people around him to try and do a good job at Michigan, because I suspect he wants to do a very good job at Michigan. You know, he wasn't going to go out there and start over from scratch. I'm not sure that has so much to do with, well, let me stick it to Utah now.
Catch Jake and Ben weekdays from 10 to noon on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, and it is time for Hot Takes or Toast. Kelly Poppinga has been named the new defensive coordinator at BYU. Is that a good choice? Matthew, he doesn't care about your choices. Just, period. Fetching, period. Win, period. Don't bother Matthew with the details, PK. He's not interested.
Well, the details are where the success is sprung from. Nothing can be left unturned. I mean, I think that you don't win by accident. I don't think that that's even close to possible. I think it's something that has to be set up from literally top to bottom, and everyone who's included in that top to bottom has to be performing at a premium level in order to maintain success, because that's what BYU's had. Obviously, the last couple of years have been extremely successful, and you want to maintain it. You know, it's hard, they say, to get there, and it's harder to keep going. And maybe it's a little bit different in college. You start getting that rep, and the recruiting takes care of itself. I know we see a lot of high schools that have their opportunity to be successful, and a lot of people want to say, oh, they recruit well and all that. And obviously that plays into it, but it's not the form of the coaches necessarily going out and recruiting. It recruits itself because it is humming along. My mentor in life, my deceased brother-in-law, has state power in soccer in the Phoenix area, won 6 state titles, was one of the guys who helped get it, which seems archaic and so out of reality now, that there wasn't a boys varsity sport till like the early to mid 80s, and he's one of the pioneers. The Arizona Republic recognizes him as one of the godfathers of high school soccer, right? Well, once he got it going, he played college soccer back east in New Jersey, and then it really fed off of itself. He literally would have people calling, what are your boundaries? And he wouldn't reach out to them, but they would reach out to him because their son was really good at soccer, right? And so that's what we see in the high schools, and they get the jealousy of the high schools becoming powerhouses. And I understand that. You know, what happened to your old neighborhood kids school? Well, yeah, that's long gone. But it wasn't about the coaches recruiting. The success of the program would recruit itself. So to maintain it, if you can get that rolling, then you've got something. Everything counts. Nothing maybe is bigger than something else as far as the smaller details, but they all count the same.
You have a story, actually, about that recruiting itself, about you teasing a coach about recruiting and landing some, I forget, linebacker, whoever it was, and the coach going, oh, just 2 more parents are going to be mad at me because that kid's not going to play. But they didn't know that. They moved him into the area.
Yeah, that's a fact too, right? Yeah. And I mean, they don't tell them you can't move it in or whatever it might be. And you got that particularly at the high school level. You have it at the college level too. Yep. I'm not sure you have it as much at the pro level, but I've heard plenty of high school or college coaches complain to me about parents. There was one time with Majerus way back when, early in the season, he was just pumping up one individual. It's like after every game, after, you know, those UC Riversides and Irvine games, because he would always have a hard time getting big dogs to play, certainly in a home and home. That was almost impossible for him. And it was the hockey thing, the pass that led to the pass. and I'm a dense dude, but if I see you do something 5 times in a row, I start to wonder. And so I asked somebody, I said, why does he keep praising this player who's a nice player, but it seemed like he was going out of his way to praise this player? And the guy told me, oh, that's because the dad spent a lot of time in Majerus's office over the summer. And the guy knew, well, I mean, I figured something out, and I'm around the team every day. And so he just flat out told me. So you've got that going on there. And I really think at the college level, once you get it going, you stand obviously a better chance to keep it going. So the details of Kelly Poppinga being the defensive coordinator, the ramifications of that are huge, because when it comes down to it, right in the moment, he's making the calls and all that stuff. As far as, what's going to happen with him as a defensive coordinator in the game, in the moment, that remains to be seen at BYU, because he hasn't done that yet, right? And so now he'll have that opportunity to do that. Everything else, I think it was an excellent promotion. He's the kind of guy you want on your staff because he understands the game, obviously. Football family, obviously, has all those checks. But the way he deals with people, which is so very, very important, is excellent. I've seen it. I've seen it as a player. I've seen it as an assistant. I've seen it with recruits. I've seen him do it with high school coaches, all those types of things. And he represents what BYU is trying to sell. And it's not anything phony because he bought it himself as a player.
He talks with a lot of energy, enthusiasm, calls you by name, looks you in the eye, firm handshake, answers questions with energy and authority. It's like this is how it's supposed to work. And you're getting used and you don't even mind it. It's like, man, when he's talking to me right now, he's recruiting. I can hear it. He's thinking, I'm going to tell this to DJ and PK here. We were, last time we talked to him, we've been down at practice and that, but we talked to him. We were outside weren't we outside the golf shop last time we talked to him, I think, at that golf event they put on? And we were talking to him there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't even remember what he was talking about. But when he said it, I thought, I know exactly how that's going to land with the parents of a high school sophomore, junior. He's like, he's not recruiting a specific kid, but, in 2 years, these are going to be the kids that everybody's talking about. And he's already philosophy, explaining everything, laying it out there. Like, yep, he's working it right now.
Yeah, and I think that the pattern that they have is something that's good. And it's funny, like Gary Anderson now is the greatest analyst of all time. I mean, he's getting multiple. So
he's getting multiple shouts here in our comments. Mike says, as long as Gary Anderson is there, BYU's defense should be in good shape. As long as the other coaches continue to recruit well, losing Guilford is still a bummer. I thought, that's actually a pretty good take right there. I think, Mike, you're on target.
But like Gary Anderson is the Wizard of Oz now. Yeah. He is the Kyle used to joke with Dennis Erickson, Yoda. Mm-hmm. When Dennis was at the end of his career there and had a lot of success, including winning national titles, obviously, and been around, and he would say, oh, Yoda, man, when he talks, people listen, that type of thing, blah, blah, blah. And now that's where we are with Gary. Whatever Gary says from either behind the curtain or on the mountaintop, boy, that's is going to just work. It's funny how Gary here seems like right now he's getting more respect as an analyst than he was at any other position he'd ever had. And BYU is grateful to have him. And I agree with all that. And he is an asset. But everybody's an asset. Whoever they've got, you need them all to be assets because everybody has to be pulling in the same direction. I've seen it when it isn't being pulled in the same direction. And particularly in football, when there's so many guys that it becomes chaotic and then you massively underachieve. And that happened with BYU during a certain time because as many directions as you could have, that's what they had. And part of coaching is getting the individual, the player, he or she, to buy into exactly what you're saying, to where when they take the field, when they take the court, that in their minds, there is no doubt what they've been preparing for the last, in the case of football, which would be a week, obviously, that this is the right thing. We are getting the proper coaching. Once there starts to have some doubt and it grows stronger, then, man, you're fighting yourself and you really have no chance. That was me in my baseball career. I'd step in the box as I got to be later on, and like, I got no chance.
That's not going to help, PK. That is
sure enough, I had no chance, right? I didn't have the self-belief that I needed in the box. The ball was hit to me. I felt like, oh, man, I can handle anything that's hit to me, no problem. From the defensive perspective, I was very good, but I just lacked the confidence. I didn't have the physical strength either to overpower the ball.
You had a December birthday. You had a December birthday. You're the youngest, smallest guy in the game. That matters, especially at that age.
Yeah. When I was a senior, the juniors we had on the team were older than me. And with that in mind, if you have that belief that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, I think that goes a long way. And I think Kelly has the opportunity to get to that point. Jay Hill was already at that point, obviously.
Yep.
But we all knew Jay wasn't going to stay there forever. He had aspirations and still does to be a head coach. And I believe that going to Michigan will help his aspirations. Not like they were going to hurt them if he stayed at BYU, but the Michigan opportunity is pretty much a golden ticket. And you have to just wish those guys well, because in their minds, and I support it 100%, it's absolutely the right thing to do. And now Poppinga gets his opportunity, and I'm excited for somebody to get an opportunity to show us what he can do.
He's been there multiple times. He's coached a couple of other places. He's coached multiple positions. He's worked under Jay. He's worked under Gary. He's worked under Kalani. It's like the time is right. I thought everything lined up. As soon as you knew Jay was definitely going, I thought it lined up. I wonder what Kalani would have done a year ago. Obviously, one less year working with him. It still might have been him, but with each passing year, it just seemed like it seemed like he had to be a strong candidate. You don't know who else Kalani knows, and but he had to be a strong candidate.
Keep things rolling. Why bring in somebody from the outside unless it was a slam dunk, overwhelming candidate? You had to go in that direction. But the thing that is good is that you're promoting from within because of the success that you've had. If they were middling around 500, 5-7, and what have you, they probably don't do that. But this is a sign that your program is in a great spot.
Yep. DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. An update on the Mammoth on the way. Dom Moore is going to join us today, 8:30 to talk Winter Classic. Stay with us. PK, I don't even know if we can guess about this. What do you think the over-under is going to be on how many Ute players end up at Michigan? The coaching staff, that was quite the deal, and everybody was talking about it, and so that's all set. So now we move into the transfer portal, and there's all kinds of guys going in the portal. We think we know where they're going to end up, and we can let it all shake out, but it seems clear.
Well, I think there's less of a chance in today's world than there might have been with the NIL, because I think if you're going to go into there and you're going to make a major move, that you might as well cut the best deal for you possible. If that happens to be Michigan, so be it. But I don't think it's a guaranteed lock of follow the trail right back to Ann Arbor in these situations, because some of these guys like a Smith and a Johnson, they're older in terms of eligibility, right? And so they're running out of time from that perspective. So why not look at everything that's available? And Daly, for that matter, too. I can't remember what grade he's in, but it seems like he's been around for a little bit. So he's not a freshman or sophomore. Maybe he's a sophomore. I don't know.
He just finished his sophomore year.
Okay. So you got 2 years to go. Or, if you want to go to the pros, maybe you only got one. And the point is, the money is there. And this is football, man. There is no guarantee on anything, really. Very few. Basketball, some of the other sports, if you're a star, you pretty much like DeBonsa, he's going to play in the NBA. That's a fact. So he's got that in his back pocket. And I don't know that anybody could really have that in their back pocket in college. A few obviously do, but with the injury factor and what's your size and all these things that necessarily you can't control, you have to cut your best deal. And the money that might be available there, I don't know what Michigan is offering all these guys compared to what an LSU might be offering. You know what I mean? And so with that in mind, I'm interested to see where they all end up. We saw that Isaac Wilson is going to Colorado. That was sort of a surprise.
That was a surprise.
Right?
Yes.
Right? Isn't that kid? What's his name? Lewis is. I haven't heard anything. Yock, is he not?
No, Juju
is he in the
Lewis.
portal?
No, Juju
Yeah,
Lewis is
he-
still there, and they redshirted him with the whole idea that he was going to kind of be the guy this year.
Right, and he's a 5-star for whatever that matters. I mean, it's nice to have that, but it doesn't guarantee you anything.
Still a coin
And
flip.
So it was still a surprise, but he thought that was a great opportunity, I suppose, compared to everything else. So be it. I wish the kid nothing but success. So I don't know if it's a guarantee that these kids flock to Michigan. Obviously, you'd think they would have some inside track there, though.
Yes, relationships matter, and the coaches know them. But it still comes down to the money. And, I mean, we've got stories from USC to Alabama. Kids in these rosters have been targeted by multiple schools. We've heard it over and over.
Yeah, right,
So-
right. And what does Michigan have? I'm not that familiar with their roster.
Oh, yeah, I'm
in
not.
terms of what's
Yeah.
already there and who they're bringing in. Who else is looking at them? They're looking at the kid, vice versa, as far as that goes. So, but at the same time, you saw Iowa State. Everybody and their dog basically is following Campbell to Penn State.
It's the
and I
Penn
mean, they
State-
decimated that program.
Penn State Cyclones. The Nittany Cyclones.
Yeah. And I feel really bad for an Iowa State program that has worked hard to have success. They're a decent program. They're good. They're not great, obviously, but they're pretty good. And now it seems like, man, they've been undercut sort of in the manner that Oregon State was undercut, different circumstances, but through no fault of their own. After they worked so hard, Oregon State spent all that time raising funds to renovate the stadium and everything, and looked like, okay, maybe you got something, and then everything is just pulled out from under them. And we'll see what Iowa State can do. But right now, they've lost so many guys, man. It's going to be hard for them. Utah, they're still holding tough, man. And for me, as an underdog kind of guy who feels like, he's had the scratch and claw, maybe not now anymore, but I still have that attitude. But for a good while, that was the reality. That was my story. Whatever I wanted, man, I was going to have to earn. I had no insight to anybody giving me anything, no inside connection whatsoever. I'm starting to get that feeling with Utah. I mean, just a few years ago, they're the beast, but they've been knocked down a little bit. Even though they went 11-2 and they were a great team this past season, it seems to me they've been knocked down a little bit. And I find myself pulling for them more to say, hey, we can do this, man. Yeah, we haven't been knocked out by any stretch. We've got a couple of body blows. We haven't even been knocked down, I don't think, but we've still taken a couple of body blows. And I find myself rooting for them so they are competitive again next year, even with all the change. I think that would be a real good story.
Coming up, 8 o'clock hour, the Winter Classic is coming to Utah. Don Moore is going to join us. Stay with us. Next, it is your Utah Jazz. How much success is enough success? We'll get to that next. Stay with us.